What's up, guys? Luthier here, and today we have another SPL game, and this time we were playing one True Lycan. Now, unfortunately, I did not get to record this live, and I can explain that in a second of why I did that. But basically, I decided to start building my own teams. I noticed that from the first 2 weeks, actually a really good friend of mine built my first two teams, and nothing was really wrong with them. And I'm not trying to take that away from him as a builder, but the problem for me was that I have an issue where when I use teams that I don't build myself, then it becomes problematic when I actually play them. So I actually had this really big issue in LC, and I feel like that's one of the reasons that I wasn't as good as I was later in something like SM when I actually started to learn how to build, because I had to force myself to understand the tier more overall, and then I could match it to my playstyle and whatnot. So I decided to start working on team building, and I decided to go with a Cinderace Coco Volt turn kind of core. Obviously you don't see a Volt switch on Coco, and that's because I don't want to be walled by stuff like Hippo and Excadrill. But anyways, so I was going to go with this core right here, as you see from these two mons, and shout out to Rosie Bear for making the spread. But basically the 44 special attack on Electro Ball allows me to 2-hit KO a slow king. I forgot what exactly. Oh no, that was Pex. Sorry. It allows me to 2-hit KO Pex in terrain. So yeah, shout out to Rosie Bear for that calc. But yeah, so I was gonna use this core, and then Lando obviously has rocks, and then Slow King to pivot around, and then Mandiba. So I actually had made 3 versions of this team, and the first version on this team had Porygon over Scizor, and then I was like, you know what, I need a Fairy Resist, right? I need a Steel or like a Bulky Fire or something along those lines to actually be able to switch into Magearna. And then I made a Victini with V-Create, Bolt Strike, U-Turn Toxic, and it really was not that bad. I think I like that team as well. The problem became because I couldn't switch into knockoffs anymore. Like, I had to force my Slow King or my Manny to take knockoffs, which was really, really annoying for me to deal with. So I really did not want to do that. And then I changed it to Scizor at last. Again, shout out to Tala for the spread, by the way. The Impish Scizor, this spread is amazing because it has enough defense to live a Bandit Cart knock into the next knock. So that means that I have a more viable check to cart in Scizor than I do with, having to bring in Mandy and take that knockoff, which is really bothersome because if rocks are up, then I don't check cart long term. So yeah, so shout out to Tala for that spread, and shout out to Rosie Bear for the Cinderace spread. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and explain the replay. So yeah, the game actually did already happen. And the reason I'm not playing this live is because I did something very stupid last week, where I basically got my own teammate banned, and I'm really sorry about it. I should have really thought about it before I actually uploaded the video, but yeah, it happened around like a 6-minute mark. My teammate passed me a pace, and I assumed it was public. I should not even have opened it in the first place because I knew most of the sets, or I could figure most of the sets either way. So that was completely my fault, and yeah, I'm sorry that you guys had to even watch that on video. But anyways, getting it right into the battle. So in tests, I found a couple things really problematic for me, and that was basically like anything that has aromatherapy. So aromatherapy was really, really annoying for me because I usually just traded toxics with my ground type and usually their ground type. So usually like my toxic with Lando on their Lando, or something like my toxic on their Hippo, and they toxic me with their Hippo back onto my Lando. So I was really not sure if I could take that, toxic with Lando in this game, because if that was Aroma Bliss, and I was not going to be able to deal with it properly. So off the bat, it just looks like a very, semi-stall-ish kind of team. I was expecting like Nasty Plot Torn, Spike Stack here, Toxic Rocks on Hippo, and then it's definitely a Fizzed Off Hippo because you have like a Blissey that's Spit F to deal with, Spit F threats like Dragapult and whatnot. And so I was really, really scared about that. And I'm so glad I changed from Porygon. Like, imagine if I brought Porygon to Bliss, and then I would have had to, get turns right and Trick, and like it would have been a real pain in the butt. So thankfully we did not bring Porygon, and we changed that up. And the other thing that I found super, super hard for me to deal with in tests was Spadef Pex. And the reason that Spadef Pex is so hard for me to deal with is I rely a lot on luring Pex with my Cinderace. And so if I didn't have that lure, I was going to be in a really, really weird situation. So realistically, if that was spit off Pex, I was going to be, yeah, I was going to be pretty screwed. So I do spend a lot of time turn one thinking about what to lead with, but I think I'm just going to lead off. Did you? Okay. We're going to refresh, and I'm going to figure out how to turn off the volume. Okay, sweet. So yeah, so we're gonna lead off turn one with my Coco, and the reason I let off with Coco is because I don't want him going to Torn, leading off with Torn. Obviously, I have boots on literally every single mon except for Lando, and Lando is lefty, so it's not a super big deal if it gets rocks up. And because of that, because of the Torn having knockoff. My idea, or possibly running knockoff, is that my idea was that I always want to go slow king on the Torn. I don't want my Coco getting knocked off, because if my Coco gets knocked off, then I don't switch into things like Scarm, and then if the Torn reveals like non-knockoff, then it gets like annoying or whatever. So I just lead off with my Coco, and as you can see, I made my Coco toxic, and the reason I run toxic on Coco is because it deals a lot better with Zapdos, because I'm really, really weak to Zapdos. So Coco essentially is like a soft check to Zapdos by using toxic instead of dazzling, and plus like dazzling isn't that useful anyways usually. So lead off with Coco. I'm going to go straight for the U-turn. I don't want to risk him sorry, I didn't reveal the U-turn because I don't want it to be helmet yet. I don't want to take a necessary chip. And plus, if I don't reveal U-turn, he might think I'm Specs or something. Who knows, right? So I don't want to take the Toxic turn one or him Earthquaking, because then I need Coco to check the Torn. Otherwise, I just lose a Nasty Flat Torn on the spot. So I just go Heart Scissor, and he just goes for the Toxic, and this is a free knockoff for me. And if I can knock off... Okay, I need to turn notifications off. 1 second. Someone edit this out, please. Okay, anyway, so we throw off the knockoff, and we get the hit on the Toxapex, and that reveals Shed Shell. And honestly, that makes a lot of sense, because he's super weak to, like, Taunt Train and stuff like that, so, fair enough. So, again, I don't really have a reason to stay in with Scizor. Here is the important calc, from that set. What that one turn told me is I got to calc, and, where is it, Pex? Okay, Toxapex. It reveals that, how much did knockoff do again? Wrong tab. Knockoff did 19. So I'm thinking that this thing is like almost full spit F or near full spit F. Because knocked did 19. So how much did it do to normal Fizdef Pex? Yeah, so it's outside of the range of Fizdef Pex, so I'm assuming it's Spidef Pex. So I'm like, crap, this is such a bad matchup at this point. So realistically, I should never be able to break, because, again, my Cinderace plus Future Sight doesn't really knock out the Toxapex unless Electric Terrain is up and I get the turn right and I have a Future Sight up. And even in that condition, I still think it was like a roll or something, because, again, it's Spidef Pex, and Electro Ball is like special attack type attack, whatever. So I was like, okay, that might be like really hard for me to deal with. So I just go into my Slow King, as it's really my way of beating Pex. And I think I throw off a Scald, because if I can burn this Pex, then I can start PP stalling, I guess, recovers and stuff. So I just throw off a burn or Scald, and we don't get burned, which is nice. And because he took 25, let me just pull up Slow King. Because he took 25, I know that he's going to be some sort of non-AV set, but at the same time, it's gonna be like a max like HP. So it could be like max special attack, it could be max or max defense. I'm not really sure at this point, but all I know is that it's max HP, and it also reveals a no item, meaning that it's more likely than not going to be Life Orb, because they only really run 3 things or like 4 things or so. But I was just assuming it was gonna be Life Orb. That you can run they can run Rocky Helmet, Lefties, Life Orb, and Assault Vest. Obviously, it wasn't Assault Vest because it's called to 25. And so I was assuming it was Life Orb at this point, because it could be Helmet or, whatever. So I'm thinking that Thunder is such an obvious play for him, especially I'm in Terrain. Outside of Terrain, I do tank this pretty easily with Slow King. But just a Scout, I'm just going to go Lando, and we'll see what we can do from there. Like, worst case, he Calm Minds up. I just go back to Slow King. I teleport into Cinderace, and I start using U-turn and stuff. But he does go for the Thunder, which is super nice. And what do? I do just get her Ops? I think I just get up Rocks. Yeah, so I just got up rocks because I know he's not going to stay in and risk a knockoff or something for my Lando. So at this point, again, going back to what I said earlier, I'm never going hard Coco because I do not want my boots gone. Because if my boots are gone, then I'm going to be pressured long term by like whirlwind with Scarm. So I just go into my Slow King. I fish for a burn here because if I get a burn, that's super nice for pressuring the Torn long term. But no, we don't get a burn there, which kind of sucks. And because of that, it's whatever. And I think I just teleport out here. And I go hard into my Lando and then try to rinse and repeat the sequence, but I just go for the U-turn this time. Trying to catch the Torn and get some momentum. And so I go for the T-Bolt here because if he goes Hippo, then at least I can force a condition. Or I can try to condition him because, I go for the U-turn because like I wanted to see if he was going Blissey or Hippo. And he goes hard Hippo, which is interesting because now if I can repeat the sequence again and I know he's going Hippo, then maybe I can condition him into getting off a Toxic. And if I get off a Toxic on Hippo and this Blissey is on aromatherapy, I'm in a super great spot. So that is something I wanted to take note of. So I just go for the U-turn there, and then bring on my Scizor and try to knock this Hippo. Because it reveals that it's not, midway through turn 11, after I click U-turn, it reveals that it's not Helmet and it's lefties. It reveals it's not Helmet, so it has to be lefties. So I just go into my Scizor, and maybe if I can knock this, I can start pressuring with Cinderace in the long term. So we try to fish for a knock, and he goes into Pex, which is a good play on his part. And then I'm just going to go hard into Slow King because it's my designated way of beating it. He goes for a Scald, does not get the burn. And then I just go for a Teleport, bring in my Lando. And the reason I went Lando is because I want to force some progress. I want to maybe it's like try to bluff some moves and like maybe like bluff knockoff. And I also wanted to see if he was like Toxic on Blissey or T-Wave because I don't really know what like his status move is at this point. Realistically, I think it could be T-Wave because T-Wave is really nice in when paired with Reuni, but we'll see. So I just go for the U-turn here because I don't want to take any sort of status if he stays in. And turns out he goes hard into Torn. And then I bring in my Coco, obviously, and then this is what I'm talking about regarding the conditioning. If I condition him to go into Hippo for the first time, then it allows me to throw off the Toxic, which I do so right here. And this is awesome because now that Hippo is on a timer, if I can find out if his Blissey is not going to be the aromatherapy set, then I'm going to be in a super, super good position. I know he's going to up, but nothing I can really do there. I just go Scizor and try to pressure him. And then I go hard Slow King here because it covers 2 plays, 3 plays actually. It covers him going Scarm, covers him going Toxapex, and it covers him staying in and going for like an Earthquake or something, which is absolutely nonsense, but you never know. So I go Slow King and I throw off a Scald here, I believe, because I don't want him to. Oh no, I just throw off a Future Sight. Okay, that's fine. That's right. I forgot to mention something. So the only mon on my team that gets hit by like spikes and rocks is Lando, and it just gets hit by rocks. And so even if my Slow King does get hit by spikes, realistically it's not like a problem. Plus, if he stays in and goes for something like Toxic, then I just go for the Future Sight, I go for the Teleport, and then I go hard into Ace. Well, not hard, sorry. I teleport into Ace, and that gets like a kill or something. So that's basically what I was thinking. That's why I went for Future Sight. And so he goes hard into Blissey, and I really don't care if he Toxics me. So I'm like, whatever. So I go into I Future Sight into Ace. Now, here's where he messed up. I believe his play always was to go into Reuniclus. By going into Blissey and throwing out that Toxic, yes, you put my Slow King in a situation where it's pressured because it's Toxic and rocks are up. However, that being said, now I just go Ace. And the reason this turn was really good is because this is what I specifically calc this turn, and that's why I took like a long time to think on the turn. Cinderace to a Torn. Now, I don't want to like spend too much time showing all of my calcs, but basically, because of, again, wrong tab, because of some earlier damage, what was it? No, I gotta find a specific turn. Yeah, okay, wait, no, it wasn't that turn. Huh, where was it? Right. So it's because Slow King did 28% to Torn. Again, wrong tab. Because Torn did 28% to Torn, what it reveals is that this Torn is going to be max HP. And so that allows me to calc the Future Sight plus Pyro Ball damage. So Pyro Ball plus Future Sight is like a 98-ish% chance to kill or something. I didn't really go into all the odds, but it was like a very heavily favored roll for my favor for Future Sight to Pyro Ball to kill. So I know he's never going into Lando there. So I'm like, Pyro is free here, I guess, but at the same time, if he Toxic my Cinderace, I'm in a really bad position. Like, yes, his Blissey goes down, but, like, if my Cinderace is gone, and my Cinderace is the main way to pressure Reuni, and I know that sounds a bit weird, but my goal is to PP stall the Reuni, because I can't beat it otherwise, because, again, my Scizor is walled by both Scarm and Toxapex, so I can't really break it with my, my Scizor. So, my main way of dealing with Reuni has to be the Cinderace, so I'm never risking it, so I just go for the high jump kick, and for some reason, God knows why, he stays in. And so, this was really, really good for me, because now that Blissey is gone, and my Cinderace is fully healthy and functional, I'm in a superb spot. And so he goes Torrent to try to revenge my ace, and he just goes for what, a knockoff? Yeah, he just goes for a knockoff, which is whatever. And then I just go for the slack off, trying to keep my Slowking as healthy as possible, and then I go for the teleport here, I believe. Now, because he has gone into Hippo every time, I was thinking about just going for the U-turn, but just to, condition him to stay in a couple more times, I think I just went for the T-Bolt here because it was free. It was not really a problem because, again, Hippo can't do much to me because it just gets to my Scizor every time. Plus, I get the U-turn and chip it down, and that forces a bit more damage with the Toxic and whatnot. So, again, going to my Scizor, I try to pressure with knockoff, and you never know what happens. He goes into Scarm and gives me his helmet. And now, the good thing about this turn, by giving me his helmet, is that I never have to fear taking a residual chip with Cinderace ever again. And removing that fear is so nice for me because, again, going back to what I said regarding the Reuniclus, is if I can just, indefinitely pivot with my ace, I'm not in a problematic position at all. So it gives me the Scarm's helmet, which is whatever. I go Slowking because my Slowking deals with this no matter what it can really do. And then I think I just go for... okay, so I thought I was going to go for the recover there, but I think I made a decent play there by going hard into Coco because it covers him going for like another spike, I guess. It also covers him going to Reuni because, again, my goal is to start PP stalling, the recovers if possible. So I go into Coco. I don't think he'll stay in. Oh, he does stay in, and he just goes Reuniclus. And again, I can just go to my Scizor here because my Scizor has knock, and that'll pressure the Reuniclus, which is nice. Removing Life Orb if possible. So again, just go for the knock. And at this point, okay, so I go hard Mandy there. And the reason is because Mandy actually does nothing for this game. It lets in Scarm for free, throws up like spikes, and Scarm throws up spikes and Toxic on it. It lets in Hippo for free, and Hippo throws up rocks and Toxic on it. So I'm like thinking, Mandy is just going to be my soft check for Pex when my King is low and I don't want to risk anything. So, and then he goes hard to Reuni, which is a great double on his part. The reason I go for the defog there is because I want to remove the terrain as well as my hazards. And so I remove the terrain as he goes for a Calm Mind. Now, +2 Thunder does not knock me out. And I guess, and again, what I was saying regarding the Pex is I can just heal up on Pex anyways later on in the game. So he goes for another Calm Mind. And going back to what I had in the paste is I'm running a Whirlwind Mandy. And the reason I'm running this is because it covers 3 main things. It covers Zarude, it covers... a bulky Spectrier, and it covers the Suicune. And so those 3 things are all checked by this Mandy running Whirlwind. Plus, I think Whirlwind's like pretty standard now anyways, or it's becoming standard, at least until the horse gets banned. So anyway, so I just go for the Whirlwind here because I know a +2 Thunder is not going to be able to knock me out. And luckily, he just goes for Calm Mind there, greeting, which is great. And I just go Slowking, and he makes a good player and good play and goes for the U-turn. And at this point, I am in range of Thunder, at least to hit and get the roll. I don't think it's something I'm willing to risk right now, so I just go hard into my Scizor. And he goes for the Calm Mind here. And knowing that he can't go and lose his Life Orb, he does go hard into the Scarm. And again, that gives me the Slowking. And I throw up a Future Sight. And I go for hard... Wait, why did I go hard Scizor? Why didn't I teleport? Okay, anyways, either way. I'm sorry. Let me go back. Okay, so I should have calced here. Wait, did he ever hit me? Oh, no, he did. He hit my, I think he hit my Scizor. But either way, I should have calced here. The reason I switched out of Slowking is because if he was like some sort of like max special attack variant of Reuniclus, he could have knocked me out with a Thunder since I was Life Orb. So I went hard into Scizor for that reason. Yeah, and so here reveals that he's not max special attack, which was okay. And I just go for the Roost because, again, he can't risk his Life Orb. And he goes Scarm on the Future Sight. And again, this gives me Coco now because I know that I've gotten into Slowking every time. That he's basically conditioned to go for the Roost. Plus, he's like low anyway. I don't see him ever staying in. So he goes for the roost, which is fine play, which is a fine play on his part, and then I just go for the U-turn, expecting the obvious hippo, and then because I want to start pressuring the hippo, I go into my Landorus to fake. Okay, so if I go into Scizor, he's obviously going to go Pex anyways. But if I go Lando and I click the U-turn, then he's probably going to go for the Toxic. And what that does is allows me to chip down this hippo a bit more in the future in case of that, puts a little pressure on something like Coco. So just go for the U-turn and go hard into Scizor because I don't want to get Toxic. And he makes a Toxic play, which is wonderful. Here, I guess I could have gotten a bit aggressive and gone to Slowking or something, but I just go for the safe knockoff in case if he recovers up or something along those lines. So, yep, does go into Pex, and this gives me my Slowking, and he's probably going to go for a knockoff or something because that pressures my Slowking pretty decently now that I'm Toxic, Sand, and Spike are up. So, I think I just go for the... What do I do here? Okay, I just go for Teleport because I can just heal up, and plus, I think he's going to expect me to recover up anyways and go harder reuni. So this is where I start getting to the part where I was talking about the indefinite U-turns. Well, not indefinite, but like the 32 U-turns. So basically, I can just keep on forcing recovers with Reuniclus because it can't beat the Scizor or Scizor plus what do you call it? Cinderace combination. So I go into Mandy after doubling, expecting him to go something like Pex because I want to defog the Spike because it makes my Slowking a lot easier to check, the Tox Pex. So I go Scizor now because I want to pressure him, and then I double out the Slowking expecting the pretty obvious Pex. And then I just stay in and I go for the Teleport because I don't want him to get too much momentum, and then I go into Cinderace. So something I do have to be mindful of is I don't want the Sandstorm chipping on this ace down to low because it feels like this game is going to go on for a while. So that's why I had to be mindful of that, but I guess I didn't really pay attention to it at first. And I just go to Cinderace and I U-turn, and then I go for the Future Sight now because if he stays in with Toxpex, I can start pressuring with my other mons from that perspective. So I was like, you know what, maybe I can just fish for him staying in or messing up. And the good thing is Slowking is out of range of Thunder now, and this roll tells me that he's non-invested. Same thing with Scizor, or even if he's invested, it's very little. So I just teleport into my out of my Slowking. And at this point, I started going for Pyro Balls because I want to get, a little more progress moving. And plus, he's never going for, a Side Shock or Thunder there. That's just a nonsense play. He's definitely going for a Recover. It'd be stupid of him to not go for a Recover on Future Sight plus U-turn. So that was that. And then I go for the U-turn then. And then bring in my Slowking. And then, because I want to keep it a bit healthy, I go back out. And so, this turn, this thing almost, progresses for a while. Honestly, I should have, picked out which turn something, pivotal happens. Well, I missed a Pyro there, but not that it really mattered. He recovered up anyways. When does something cool happen? Oh, okay. So turn 72, I T-Bolt on his Torrent, and he goes hard Hippo. And so maybe I can try to condition him to go Hippo every time, and then I can start U-turning and whatnot. And I just go for Scald here, or Teleport here. I Scalded a few times. And this game just goes on and on. Again, I don't need my boots on Mandy. It's literally only here for the Pex soft check when my Slowking doesn't want to come in. Go for a Future Sight here, and then go for the Teleport because he let, Scarm, whatever. Because, the Spike doesn't really hurt me that much. I can defog it later anyways. Go for a Pyro here. Yada, yada, yada. When's the next thing that's interesting happen? Yeah, this goes on for a while. Okay, well, he reveals Iron Defense, Scarm. Not that it really mattered because I have, Coco in the back anyways. So, it's whatever. And then blah, blah, blah. Teleport out. Oh, okay. So, on turn this, whatever this, 98. I thought he conditioned him to go to Hippo every time by clicking Thunderbolt a few times, but he makes a crazy play and stays in. But yeah, I think that's my fault. I don't need Mandy again, as I said earlier in this game. I guess he can roost up on anything anyways, and I don't think Hurricane 2 KO'd me at that range. And I think he's going to go for a Calm Mind or a Thunder, and either way, Lana covers both. So I throw up my rocks here on the obvious... Yeah, so the reason I threw up rocks is because it helps me pressure the Scarm and Hippo a bit better. Really, I don't have knockoff on this team, so I'm never, taking away Torn's boots. Well, I do have knockoff, but it's on Scissor, but it's never, Torn's never coming in on it. So, realistically, getting up rocks is nice for Hippo and Scarm. Also pressures out another recover, and at this point, it's already down to 6 recovers, so I'm, this is progressing well. And because I knocked the Scarm helmet, I don't have to worry about things with what you call it. Knock the Scarm's helmet. I don't have to worry about things with Lando and U-turning. So I go Coco here because I think the double thunder is so obvious, and same as he's either going for like a double thunder or like a combine. And either way, Coco covers both because it puts pressure on him, and the U-turn forces him to recover again. So at this point, let me just put this on to hyper fast. I just think about stalling recovers. I go Scizor because Slowking gets 2 KO'd, blah, blah, blah. And then I go for Port here, bring in Cinderace, things go. And then I click Thunderbolt on turn 1 of 7. Maybe just slow down. Hoping that he'd stay in and maybe I can get something going with that. And yeah, so I basically get rid of that. And then I just U-turn here, blah, blah, blah. Same things happen over and over. I go Lando on Thunder, and the reason I went Lando is because all the Reuniclus have to run like Side Shock, or else he's like still lose to Blissey and stuff because Blissey 2-ways and whatever. So I figured that he's Side Shock last, and I'm Fizz Def, so my Lando doesn't really worry about that. So I go hard Lando a couple times. So that's that. Things keep progressing. And blah, blah, blah. And then I get a future sight off. And then I throw... What do I do here? I just throw off you just hard Scarm, which is fine. Maybe I could have, done something there, I guess. And then I just go for T-Bolt here because Scarm is at, 15%. No reason not to. And then things keep going that way. And, yeah. Eventually, I bring in my Lando on the Reuni. This goes for recovers. And I can just keep on going for Earthquakes because, again, you have to go for Side Shocks and stuff. And whatnot, and so he burns his last recover at this point. And I don't really need Scizor at this point because the Reuniclus is dead, and Scizor is only there for the Reuniclus. So I just go hard into hard into Scizor. He does go for a Thunder, which is a crazy play on his part, but good play as well. I just go for a knockoff, and we just talk a bit here. Not really anything like beefing or whatever. And so I just go Slowking because I know it doesn't get 2 KO'd. Try to keep it healthy, and then defog with Mandy. Scarm comes in. I guess I could have fished for the roll. The foul play roll was in his favor severely, but honestly looking back, I lost nothing by doing it. So I guess I could have just fished. The game was basically over at this point. After Reuni lost all of his recovers, there's nothing he could have really done. I go for Scald a couple times, fishing for burns and whatnot. I don't get it, and I killed Scarm instead. And then basically Lando wins at this point, and I'm just gonna finish it. Yeah. So basically that's how the game ended. And again, this was a really tough week for me because going into SPL 0-3 would have been something disgusting for me to deal with. Because the first week loss was it was just sad. Second week loss was a combination of both awful play on my part and a pretty weird matchup. I don't think that the matchup was as bad as I claimed it to be when I first made the video. Although Vinkun could have really just won the game on the spot. I definitely messed up. I should have been more proactive. I should have been more aggressive. But yeah, so props to Bloody Alpha for playing well. But either way, yeah, so we actually finally get a win in SPL. I'm 1-2, and our team is actually up 2-0 at the point that I'm recording this. So yeah, I will be back next week. I forgot what team we play next week, but anyways, let me know in the comments what you guys think about either recording live or on a post-game replay. A couple people have told me that they really enjoy live, but others have told me that they really enjoy the post-game commentary. As you can see, my timer never went really down past 180 after the first turn, which is really nice because it got me more time to think, and talking less does give me more time to think. So just let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll try to factor that in. Maybe I can do a screen recording of the live game and then give my thoughts on what is actually going down when it was happening. So yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.